In 2 years, nobody has dismantled Rafael Nadal as effectively as Andy Murray did yesterday. But the challenge doesn't get any easier. Because here comes Roger Federer. He escaped Friday, he escaped Saturday, and nobody would count him out today on Sunday. A repeat champion, a three-time winner. One of those rare scenarios comes true today.
Roger Federer is on the edge. He's still here.
Big kid, good power, great defensively.
Andy Murray has a career-winning record against Roger Federer.
Never say die. Paid off for Andy Murray.
But in finals, Federer is 3-0 against this foe.
Smoking hot here is Roger Federer out of the gate.
Who's the favorite? It's a toss-up.
What a night! What a finish!
Moments from now, the Rogers Cup presented by National Bank, the championship, and there will be some form of history made today. There has only been two players who've won 3 or more championships in this event. Andre Agassi, who had precisely that number, and Yvonne Lendl, who had 6. But Roger Federer has a chance to join them today. Here he comes with Andy Murray. We haven't had a repeat winner here either since 1994-95, and that's what Murray has the chance to do. Of course, he won last year in Montreal, but for that man, Federer, the question is going to be, how is he going to handle how much he's played over the past couple of days? Federer played 2 hours and 41 minutes on Friday night. That's the 4th longest match of this event. He also played 2 hours and 22 minutes last night, which is the 7th longest match of this event. Murray hasn't been anywhere really close to that. As a matter of fact, his quarterfinal win over David Nalbandian on Friday was only 70 minutes, which is one of the shortest that have been played here this week. So the question is, can Federer overcome that, even though it should be remembered that Federer won this tournament for the last time in 2006 when he did play the evening semifinal the night before. So far, the weather is cooperating. That's a key as Bruce Rainey and Peter Burwash prepare to call it. Gentlemen?
Elliot, thank you very much. Not often you come into a match where you consider Roger Federer perhaps the underdog. Andy Murray was sensational yesterday and Friday. Federer, Peter, has played a lot of tennis. Is he perhaps underdog status today?
Well, he's definitely underdog status, I think, just because Murray has been playing so well. Whether or not he's physically fit, I think he will be okay. He trains very, very hard, in good condition, and also winning those 2 matches often give you that little extra boost of confidence.
You know, it's interesting here because of Federer and the way we have seen him win in the past. Listen in for a second here, see what's being discussed.
Heads to face. Heads is called.
Let's see who's going to serve here.
Tails, your choice. That side. You start. Yeah, take a picture.
Looks like Murray chose end. There you go. Federer, we mentioned, he's winning differently than he has in the past. He used to blow guys off the court. The last couple of matches we've seen, he's squeaked through. Is this a new era, do you think, for Roger Federer?
Well, I think so. Anytime you lose confidence, we talked a lot about his forehand and how his game kind of revolves around how his forehand comes out of the block early on in the match. And I think for Roger Federer, what he's really struggling with is the confidence in his ground strokes. We saw against Djokovic last night, almost every rally that occurred, Djokovic was winning them. And I think what's important now is whether or not he can stay with Andy Murray, who's playing very strong off the ground.
Let us talk a bit more about Andy Murray. Andy Murray has just been totally on fire in this tournament. And there he is, 6'3", strong as an ox. And Peter, he had a real letdown. These 2 guys played at the Australian Open final. Federer beats him in straight sets. Murray kind of disappears for a while, reemerges at Wimbledon, and since that time, especially this week, he's been hot as a pistol.
He has. He had that slump more mentally than anything else. It was like very discouraging for him. But Wimbledon gave him that boost, and then in Los Angeles a couple of weeks ago, he got the final. He lost to Sam Querrey, but you could sort of sense he was coming back. When he got here, the real turning point, I think, was the way he beat Nalbandian in the quarterfinals. I mean, he just played almost a perfect match, and then obviously you hardly ever see a score, Rafael Nadal going down 6-3, 6-4. That wasn't because Nadal played badly, but Murray just played great.
Elliot mentioned the weather could be a factor today, and we are hoping the showers stay away. There are many umbrellas opened around this stadium, partly because of the humidity and the heat, but also partly because of the anticipation of rain. Not sure if drops are starting to fall yet, but we hope it stays away. This is just too good a final to have it interrupted. Roger Federer, for such a long time, the world #1. Listed there as world #3. That will change Monday. He's going to move to #2 as he climbs back and tries to reattain top status in the world. And boy, he's got to be a bit tired. I know he's in great shape, but take a look at the last 2 matches. Thomas Berdych, his nemesis this year, is who he beat on Friday night in 2 hours, 41 minutes. And then yesterday, boy, he had Djokovic on the ropes early on. Let him back in it, Peter, and then, boy, it was the serve that carried him through, wasn't it?
It was. Without Federer's serve, I think he might not be here today. He came up with the big serves at the right time, struggling in rallies, but I think what also helped, particularly in the Berdych match, was the crowd. You know, it's still, we mentioned this a few times, but it still is amazing how many people want Roger Federer to win, even though he's #1, #2, #3.
You know something, skies now have opened up a little bit, certainly to the point where they cannot begin play yet. So we're going to have some form of delay here. Just as they came out, the skies did open up. A weather update and hopefully first serve to come soon from Toronto.
The 2010 Rogers Cup, presented by National Bank on CBC, is brought to you by Iris, as unique as your eyes. By LoveMeansNothing.ca, tennis is spoken here. And by Dairy Farmers of Canada. And you, are you getting enough milk products?
Well, back at Rexall Centre on the campus of York University in Toronto, there's a look at the court, and we expected at this point to see players lining up for first serve. They did come out, did Andy Murray and Roger Federer. However, they were asked to head back because rain just about 4 or 5 minutes ago started to fall to such an extent that play became impossible. And Peter, we should mention early on here that, you know, these are world-class athletes, and if the court gets the least bit slippery, they're very cautious, aren't they?
Well, the concern really is the lines, because the lines are painted on, and so that's what they always check first to see whether or not the court is playable.
Right now they are working very hard on it. You can see just behind us that the machines are out. There's a whole bunch of them, and typical drying time, Peter, is what when you see these machines hit the court?
Around the world, 45 to 50 minutes. In Canada, it's 20 minutes. They have actually set the gold standard for how a court should be dried. In fact, a few years ago, Canada was doing such a good job that the U.S. Open started to copy what they were able to do in Canada in terms of drying the court. They've got excellent machines. It really helps to have this happen in the final because they've got all the crew that normally would cover all the outside courts. So today they're in pretty good shape.
You know, not much rain did come down, so this maybe will take even less than 20 minutes. In the meantime, we'll show you how the two finalists made it through to this championship matchup today, starting with Andy Murray, who yesterday afternoon, I guess Peter Robin Soderling, he handled Nadal with similar ease at the French Open. This was pretty easy, though, for Murray.
Yeah, this was definitely a little bit easier. Murray was surprisingly sharp. I think, as I mentioned earlier, he set the standard for when he started to play so well against Nalbandian, and that's just carried over to the semifinal. And I've not seen Nadal dominated so much for so long throughout the entire match. Usually he finds pockets where he gets kind of back in for a few games, but Murray played him very smart tennis.
What was his recipe, Peter? Because people are asking now, how do you beat Rafael Nadal? This guy had an answer yesterday. What was it?
Well, there were two things. Number one, he served very effectively, so he didn't give Nadal an opportunity to get any kind of rhythm on his return. The second thing that Murray did well was he was able to rally with him. Nadal usually is the one that's dictating the points. Murray was the one that's kept the rally going and then all of a sudden pounced on it. And usually it's Nadal doing the pouncing, and that was really the difference. But also, maybe add a third thing there. Murray's very, very fit. And he's worked very hard at this. He's got a trainer by the name of Jez Green who's just done a magnificent job with him, worked with him the last 3 years. And Murray, he really does look strong out there. And that's also helps to be able to look strong as well as feel strong.
Yeah, a couple of years back, he was kind of doughy in a way, but he's a ripped about 205 pounds now.
Well, he is, and the thing that I've been most impressed with in terms of Murray's development is he's got a good combination, both lateral motion and coming into the net. He used to be able to be drop shotted easily. That's very difficult to do. He used to be able to get him out of position, but he's got great balance. He moves the car across the court with much more ease, and that's made it a lot easier for him.
So Andy Murray right now in prime position, both playing-wise and physically-wise. He is set today to play Roger Federer, the former world number one, going to move up to number two in the world because of a win last night over Novak Djokovic. Federer, Peter, came smoking out of the gate last night.
Well, we thought it was going to be maybe about a 45-minute match, perhaps the shortest of the tournament. He won the first set. He was up 2-love, and then all of a sudden, in that third game, Djokovic started to get his rhythm. And what happened was he stopped making mistakes. Federer then tried to go a little bit too much for the corners, started making a few mistakes himself, and then started losing a lot of the rallies. And if it weren't for Federer's serve, I mean, that really kept him in the match. And that's always the base for Federer. If, even when he doesn't have a good day, you very seldom see his serve disappear.
You saw that drop shot from Federer a lot last night. It worked most of the time. Djokovic did chase that one down. Now, Federer, they traded breaks in the third set. Federer had to work very hard for this, and as you say, the serve was key. His ground game last night was spotty.
Well, it was, and a part of that also is due to the fact that Djokovic just was really in the zone in terms of keeping the ball in play, kept the unforced errors down, and I'm still surprised we're seeing Federer here. I can't believe how he managed to get through the quarters and the semis to be able to get here. But that's why he was number one for so many years and is going, as you say, back into number two slot tomorrow morning.
Give me a sense, Peter, of what the players are going through right now. They come out, they've warmed up, they're ready to play. They're all set to come out and finish on-court warm-ups, and then they're put under an umbrella and taken back again. Like, mentally, what does it do to them, their preparation?
Not so much because they haven't played yet. I think also, too, they have been alerted to the weather forecast, and there was that possibility. So they've had an opportunity to think, okay, we may not start on time. But usually it's when it gets into 4-1 for some player and they've got the momentum, then it really becomes a factor, but it's very much equal. Any extra time Roger Federer can have sitting down and just relaxing now has to be a plus for him.
You know, things seem to have improved down on the court. It looks pretty clear right now. Weather not bad. Is that right, Elliot Friedman?
Well, we do have Andy Murray and Roger Federer coming back out. They just took the blowers out a couple of seconds ago. They brought the chairs back out for the linesmen, and the sun is poking through. So hopefully we'll get the warm-up going and get started soon. Next, hopefully a first set at the Rogers Cup.
Back at the Rogers Cup, Rexall Center on the campus of York University, awaiting first serve between Roger Federer and Andy Murray. There's a look at the Swiss maestro, longtime number one in the world. Peter, he started this year with a win at the Australian Open, and since then he has not won a title. A remarkable drought for him. A quarterfinal loss at the French Open, a quarterfinal loss at Wimbledon, and after he lost at Wimbledon, he did what many people thought was unheard of for Federer. He looked at hiring a coach.
Well, two things in terms, first of all, the drought. That's the longest drought he's had.
It's a bit too much. You know, you go safe because you know what works and you just believe in the long run, you know, you're going to kind of win, but instead of maybe outright dominating guys and going after stuff, that's more of a junior kind of a play, and it's either make or break. That's kind of what juniors do. So I can relate to both, which is good, because I came as a junior, was an incredible shot maker, and today I'm very good at playing the percentages really well. So that's why I think a coach is at times crucial, that can help me, to do the right things at the right time. I have already a great coach in Switzerland, Severin Lüthi, as well, but I just thought it would be something interesting to get in someone else as well with huge experience as Paul had as a player and as a coach, and so far it's been going well.
So Peter, bring you back in here. He hires, or at least looks at hiring, Paul Annacone, former #1 man for Pete Sampras, and one thing that shows is that Federer doesn't think he's done. He feels he can still get better. And you think he can bring a bit more aggression to his game?
Yeah, Annacone was the type of player who they called the chip and charger. He would come in on all kinds of shots. He did not like to stay back at the baseline. He was a good player. He won 3 titles. And what Roger needs to do now is he needs to work more on his approach shot. He elicits short balls, come in behind his serve more than once every 3 or 4 games, because he's a very decent volleyer once he does get in there. And then also just, come in behind the return periodically to kind of offset the momentum of the person on the other side of the net. And that's what Annacone was an expert at, and should be able to help Federer out tremendously.
Speaking of players and their coaches, Andy Murray right now doesn't have one. He let go longtime advisor Miles McLaughlin earlier this year, and he's in the search for one right now. He does, though, Peter, have a good team around him?
He does. He's got a good physiotherapist, a good trainer. He's got a good hitting partner, and the only missing component really is the coach. Andy had a good coach with Brad Gilbert, but their chemistry wasn't that good. And Miles McLaughlin, we thought, would be around for a lot longer.
So as Murray continues to warm up, we talked about his fitness level, Peter. He was out here about, I'd say, 2 hours ago on the court in the humidity, going through what to me looked like a really intense, half hour on this side, half hour on that side workout.
Very unusual to go that long, particularly that close to the match. Nadal's kind of the same way. Murray and Nadal, they like to practice hard, and Murray has a very good hitting partner, a young player, Danny Valverde, who was his doubles partner when they were down in Spain when Andy went away to tennis camp.
Oh, here's a stat for you. Andy Murray trying to become only the 5th player ever to beat Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer in the same tournaments. Nikolai Davydenko has done it. David Nalbandian's done it twice. Juan Martin Del Potro has done it, and so has Novak Djokovic, and that was back here at the Canadian Open in 2007.
Andy Murray, if you heard the umpire talk about that, he won the toss and elected to choose the side. Basically, you've got 3 options when you win the coin toss. You can choose side, you can choose to serve or receive, or you can pass on the decision to your opponent and have them make the decision.
So after about we'll call it a 10-15 minute delay because of weather, looks like Federer and Murray are set to go.
Actually, the fact that there isn't too much wind and full cloud cover, it always makes for a nice day, although the real challenge will be the heat. But both of these players have trained in very hot weather. Andy Murray made a big decision last year after Wimbledon. He went down to train in Miami, which is a very humid area, and he came back up and won the tournament in Montreal. Roger trains a lot in Dubai in the Middle East. Though it's not humid there, it's exceptionally hot, and he has often 4 or 5 hour practice sessions, so I don't think the heat will be much of a factor.
First set, Roger Federer to serve.
Well, the 2010 Rogers Cup on the line. Federer looking to become a 3-time champ. Murray looking to go back-to-back. Those are the plot lines. Federer, first ball in play this afternoon.
Interesting statement for the first point to hit a drop shot. Often when you do that, you're counting on your opponent being a little bit exhausted from previous matches.
One thing maybe to look at today, Peter, yesterday Andy Murray on Rafael Nadal's second serve just crowded the baseline and took the ball so early. We'll see if he has similar respect, or maybe even is it disrespect for Roger Federer's second serve. Had a quick look there at the Andy Murray team. We'll identify the individual members as we go along. In the middle of that, just about the most effective lob you could ever imagine.
15-14.
Two early break opportunities for Andy Murray. Andy Murray wanted to receive, and he made a good choice. Early break here, set one.
First game.
Brings us to the segment we call Peter's Principles, keys to the match. Peter?
Well, first of all, Federer has to serve well, because Andy Murray has been having great success with his own serve. This is what has kept Federer in the previous two matches. Murray must stay in the rallies, because we saw last night when Djokovic rallied with Federer, he won the majority of points. And finally, this is Federer's best chance to get to the net this week, because against Berdych and Djokovic, they kept the ball so deep he didn't get in. Andy Murray keeps the ball deep, but it's also a little bit slower type of ground strokes. So he did on that. He clipped the top of the net on that second point. Would have been up 30-love, but his intention was to start to get into the net.
And the Principles brought to you by LoveMeansNothing.ca. Tennis is spoken here. Murray served very big yesterday against Rafael Nadal, kept him totally on the defensive.
Sometimes when you watch Federer play, it's like he's not trying, but really what it is he plays with such economy of motion. He's rarely out of position.
Well, through 2 games, Roger Federer has won 2 points. Federer looking to get on the board here in this service game. Game 3, first set. Roger Federer is getting a taste of what David Nalbandian and Rafael Nadal tasted on Friday and Saturday.
Federer's going to have to pick up his serve here because Murray has won the most number of games on the return. He's the leader in this tournament. And this is the stroke, the serve that has been able to pull Roger out of some holes these last couple of days.
There it is. Andy Murray is going to challenge that serve, though. He thought the ball was long. This is Shot Spot, brought to you by the National Bank Financial Group. Peter, Andy Murray's a great player, but he's lousy at challenges.
He was 0 for 4 yesterday. He's got one of the lowest percentages on the tour. The players are only out this tournament, they're correct only 26% of the time.
What a start for Andy Murray, the defending champion, as Roger Federer on the ropes, up 2 breaks now in this first set of the championship final.
Andy Murray is up 2 breaks here in the first set, and maybe we shouldn't be so surprised. As Peter alluded to, Murray is #1 in this tournament in percentage of service return games won at 41. He's also #3 in points won against an opponent's second serve, 65%. Difficult to beat anyone, Bruce, when they're playing like that.
Elliot, maybe we're seeing here this guy quickly becoming the top service returner in the game, perhaps along with Rafael Nadal. There's an art to it, and he has had it mastered this week. Andy's mom, Judy Murray.
She's a tennis coach in Scotland. Gentleman on her left is Danny Valveru. I mentioned him earlier. He's the hitting partner with Andy Murray.
Did he get a workout this morning?
It's a good sparring partner for sure.
Little life from Roger Federer. 3 break points for the world number 3.
14.
There's one back. 3-1 now. Bit of spring in the step for Federer. And Peter, you had to figure that Roger Federer wasn't going to lose this set 6-love.
No, actually, there's a great story. He only lost 6-love one time to a police officer now. His name is Rado Schmidli, and it was an under-10 tournament. And Roger lost 6-0, 6-0 and sat under a chair and cried for an hour afterwards.
And since that time?
And since that time, in 2,117 sets, he's only lost 6-love 4 times. And one of those came at the French final to Nadal in 2008. Amazing.
30 love.
Roger Federer's wife has been spotted. Ms. Mirka. Thickens in this first set from 3-love to 3-2. Roger Federer has 1 break back.
Main draw begins tomorrow at Uniprix Stadium in Montreal for the women's event of this Roger Cup. And a reminder that we'll be with you next weekend, semifinal Saturday and final Sunday. Bruce Rainey will be there too, Bruce.
Look forward to it, Elliot. By the way, Kim Clijsters and Maria Sharapova in the final today in Cincinnati. That would be a great one to have a week from today. Peter, here's the U.S. Open Series, and we know all about this. There's big bonus money as a possibility if somebody can finish at the top of this and win the U.S. Open.
Yeah, huge amount. Double their prize money, and it's a concept created by the Arlen Kantarian at the USTA a number of years ago, and it's been very popular, tremendous television reviews.
The U.S. Open Series is made up of a series of events. This is one of them. And players earn points based on how high they finish in those, and it all can culminate with a huge payoff at the U.S. Open. Andy Murray leading the way thus far. Very nice.
Sun's out. That's a good sign.
Nice play behind Roger Federer. Solid service game for Murray.
Gentleman on the right there with the sunglasses is Jez Green, who I talked about a little earlier, and has been a fitness trainer for tennis players for 17 years, the last 3 with Andy Murray. That gentleman is his hitting partner. Players do so well financially, they can afford to have quite a few people helping them out. So Andy Murray here is without a coach, but he still has 3 people helping him out on all the practice sessions.
You would think coaches would be lining up to work with this guy. Is there a favorite, or get to that in a second?
Well, some people feel that Darren Cahill has got the inside track, but whether he'd want to leave his good job with the ESPN, I'm not sure that he would make that decision, having 2 young children, but we'll see.
Vintage inside-out forehand from Roger Federer.
Tough job being a coach on the tour these days, unless you've built up a special friendship and relationship as well.
Sizzling return there from Murray. Battle of the 2-handed backhand of Murray and the 1-handed backhand of Federer today, Peter.
Yeah, and they're both very solid backhands. Just good contrasting styles, but
You'd take either?
well, I like Federer's one-hand backhand.
So stylish. That was a good service game from Federer to answer Andy Murray. He still trails by a break. Murray by a game. Set 1. On Saturday, August 21st, a Saturday night splashdown in California. Michael Phelps and a powerful U.S. contingent and Canada's top swim stars featured at the Pan Pacific Championships. Primetime swimming, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. 23-year-old Andy Murray trying to do something that has not been done in some 15 years. And that is win back-to-back titles here in Canada. Andre Agassi, the champion in 94 and 95. Murray won it last year in a 3-set final over Juan Martin Del Potro.
Federer playing a little more cautiously right now, with chipping his backhand, a little more loop on the forehand, gets a mark on it. Ball's not going exceptionally deep, but he's keeping it in play. And Federer's kind of like a lot of tennis players. If you ask them, do you play better when you're ahead or when you're behind? And most people will answer they play better when they're behind. There aren't a lot of really good front runners, people who actually can get out ahead and bury you. Much smaller percentage. Because most people tend to let up when they get a little bit of a comfort zone.
Would Nadal be the best front runner?
Oh,
By a mile.
by a mile. But he didn't get that chance yesterday.
To the net comes Federer. Lovely pass from Murray.
What he should do is keep coming like that. Because Murray's been allowed to get into a bit of a rhythm here on his ground strokes. This was just a perfect passing shot. Nothing you can do about it. But if you are going to try to get into the net a lot, you should not be discouraged. Unless the person's, hitting 5 or 6 in a row. Keep the pressure on. It's a classic example of you don't have to hit the ball hard, you just have to hit it accurately. So watch this. No, minimal motion, well directed.
So can Federer get this to deuce and possibly position himself for a break to tie up the set? Backhand into the net, and a 5-3 lead now for Andy Murray. That first game, Peter.
Yeah, it was kind of a very casual first game, and it cost him here. He's
kind of in between there was Federer. Didn't quite get in tight enough.
Well, it was a short approach, and he wasn't into the correct position to volley, so that was a pretty easy passing shot for Murray. And talking about passing shots, Bruce, you mentioned earlier about the practice session that Murray had. He's the only player this week, and obviously haven't had a chance to see all the practice sessions, where the passing shot was actually practiced for a while. He knew that there was a good chance today that Federer would be coming into the net.
They spent a good chunk of time on that this morning.
So this is just about right for Roger Federer. He's down 5-3, was down love 30, and this is where his serve has saved him this week. We'll see if it can keep him in this match. So here we are, very big point. Roger Federer is one of the big point servers, a la Ivan Lendl, Boris Becker. Even though Lendl was principally a baseliner, he was the person that could crack an ace at the appropriate time, and we'll see here if Federer can get himself out of the... Good serve.
Nice call. He's one of the best love 40, 15-40 servers I've ever seen.
Good observation, yeah.
Federer starting to bang the ball a bit harder here now. Still needs another break to tie it up. Murray by a game, set 1. There's the man who single-handedly has made it very tough for anybody to break through in Grand Slams over the past decade. Last 22 Grand Slam events, there it is. There's the breakdown. Federer with the 12, Nadal the 5 French Opens, 2 Wimbledons and 1 Australian. Djokovic has the 1 Australian, Del Potro last year at the US Open, but the decade has been this guy's, Peter.
And well deserved. He's one of the big reasons for the resurgence of tennis globally, both in terms of the spectator popularity and also in terms of participation.
Twice he has beaten Andy Murray in Grand Slam finals, but Murray with a chance to serve for the first set here in this final. Look out now.
Well, Murray has a tendency to play passively sometimes, and that was one of the examples there where that was a very passive approach shot. He needed to be a little bit more aggressive. Yes, Federer guessed correctly, but Murray should have really pounded that ball, because his timing has been really good this week. I told you, just let's get behind, down 5-3. It's magical this week, the way he's been able to dig the hole and then get himself out of it at the appropriate time. But we'll see, because Murray has done a good job this week of serving big time when he really needed it as well. He's becoming a much, much better server.
Nice touch there, too.
Well, Murray's always had a good feel for the ball, and it's a very natural progression for him to come into the net more. He's been very content over the past couple of years to play from the baseline and rally and counterpunch, but changing it around.
Two break points now for Federer.
That was a good rally for Federer. He got a little bit lucky there, because had that ball not hit the let cord, it would have gone in. It's amazing the support that Roger Federer has at almost every juncture of the match.
And the energy in this building this week has been fever pitch when he has played.
Yeah, usually it's Nadal that captures the fans, but I think because Rogers, they realize 29, he's moving on.
Double faults. Second of the match and costly for Murray. There's the break Federer needed. And the first set tied at 5.
What happened there was the sun came out just as Murray was serving, and he is very toss dependent. There's his team with his mom Judy. And when someone is toss dependent, if there's any kind of extra wind or the sun gets in your favorite spot, sets off the timing. That's why you never want to be too dependent on your toss. You have to move it around.
Now, by contrast, the Federer toss, you could almost draw a picture. It's there all the time, isn't it?
Yeah, he's very consistent, but he also has the ability to move it around. So the 2 times you have to move it around are wind when you throw it lower, and also sun, you move it too far to the left or too far to the right. But the other 2 times is if you're not that coordinated or you're nervous. Now, the not too coordinated is not relevant here at the professional level, but the average player has trouble putting the ball up there with the opposite throwing arm. But the main thing, it doesn't matter what level you're at, you can still get nervous and the toss. Your right arm is a little bit tight putting the ball up, and you end up not having it go where you want it to go.
Umpire made the call there. That ball was long on the service line. Let's take a look here just to confirm. Two break points now for Murray. And Federer will have to do it again here, dig out with his serve.
Going back to that point that Federer just missed on his forehand, it'll be interesting to see Federer in a couple of months if he does choose to have Paul Annacone be his coach. That's where Annacone was really very, very solid. He won a lot of matches that way. He actually won 3 titles. He won in Brisbane and LA in 1985 and Vienna in 1989. But the majority of his matches were always very tough as he put pressure on you. You know, think about having someone come to the net on almost every single point, forced you to hit some pretty darn good passing shots.
Did it again. And Peter, as you get older like Federer gets, it's maybe a better idea to shorten the points. Get to the net and you win or you lose.
You're right. Definite advantage to that strategy. Good play. And I mentioned earlier about the opportunity for him to get in more. And Murray's not getting the same kind of depth that he has even earlier in this match in the majority of the tournament. And so Federer can take advantage of those short balls like that. He'll start winning more points.
Racket slip?
No, I think he, and this is just speculation at this point, I think what he was thinking about was possibly hitting a drop shot, and then he realized that that really wasn't a smart shot because Murray had moved in, And so he ended up just having the forehand just collapsed. And it ended up being neither a drop shot nor a ground stroke. He got there in enough time that he had the option to go down the line or across court. Great lob by Murray. So he's got time. He just got it up too high. Because even if that ball wasn't going to go long, it was still an easy volley for Murray to put away.
Can he serve out of another mess here, Federer? Federer challenging the serve. Shot spot brought to you by National Bank Financial Group. And clearly out was the first serve. Murray gets a second to look at here. And Murray breaks right back. Andy Murray 6-5. He'll serve for set one when we come back. Next Saturday, Major League Soccer on CBC matches Toronto FC against Red Bull New York, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, 10 a.m. Pacific. Toronto FC putting its season-long unbeaten streak at BMO Field on the line. That is next Saturday. So Roger Federer claws back into this first set. He races 2 breaks only to give up a break to Andy Murray, who now can serve for set 1. Plenty of plot twists in this opening, 44 minutes. Federer now 5 for 9 at the net. There's been a few lovely clean passes here from Andy Murray. Not his best.
Well, even though both of them have missed some drop shots, it's really nice to see this kind of tennis where they're using all areas of the court, good mixture of spins and speeds. Just a lot of dynamics going on here in this match.
Not a bad seat in the place. And it's packed today for this final. Lovely point from Murray. You want to talk about crowds this week. 161,000 this week. That breaks the old record of 155. And 5 entire sessions this week have been sellouts. There it is. Topsy-turvy first set, but Andy Murray prevails. He has the first in the books. Classic battle here in Toronto. Andy Murray, world number 4. Roger Federer, world number 3. Murray looking for a second straight title. Federer, a career title number 3. Murray, the early edge as we get set to play set 2 at Rexall Center.
One set done in the final of the Rogers Cup presented by National Bank, and Andy Murray is the leader, 7-5 in set number 1. A couple minutes ago, Murray, who is ahead, and Roger Federer both took quick breaks from the court. They're on their way back out now to bring up set number 2. As mentioned off the top, Murray is 6-5 career against Federer, but he's 0-3 in finals, including this year's Australian Open final. In that one, Murray actually led the third set 5-2, and John Lloyd, the BBC commentator, said, quote, "Federer's form has dipped. He's just proving he's actually human." Federer probably didn't hear it, but he made Lloyd eat his words. He came back to win that set 13-11 in a tiebreaker and win his 16th major. Bruce, I'm sure defeats like that in this kind of event are uppermost in Murray's mind right now.
Yeah, he's lost, as you mentioned, Elliot, the last couple to Roger Federer. The two big ones in the finals of the Australian Open and the U.S. Open a couple of years back. And this will be a day for multiple shirt changes for each player. Very humid here in Toronto. Peter, here's a man who was ranked number 1 in the world for 285 weeks. That is 1 week away from the all-time record of 286 held by Pete Sampras. Here's one for you. Do you think he'll break that at some point? In other words, can he get back to number 1?
Well, I think wasn't that consecutive weeks?
Yeah.
So, for him to get back up to number 1 is going to be quite a challenge now, because what made him so difficult to beat was this aura around Roger Federer, and he's got to make some additions, some changes. There's no question about it. But I just think to consistently stay up there is going to be a major challenge. He's been a fabulous representative of the sport, probably one of the nicest athletes you'll ever want to meet, and. So even if he doesn't get back to number 1, he'll still be a major force in behalf of the tennis world.
Yeah, just to confirm, that's 285 weeks total. Not consecutive.
Total.
Yeah, total. And Sampras at 286, so maybe he can get back for a month or 2 to break that.
A lot will depend on his consistency. That's what made him so strong for so long.
There's a successful foray to the net. Andy Murray, on the other hand, has been as high as number 2. That was last year. He's fallen now to number 4, and he'll stay there based on his appearance in this final. He could have dropped had he not made the final, by the way, but he's going to stay at number 4. You know it's humid when Mr. Federer is sweating. He normally pretty dry out there. wide. First game, second set, Roger Federer. First set statistics.
Well, it was pretty evenly matched. I think if we take a look just really at the unforced errors, that's actually pretty low for the quality of the match. The only difference really was Murray's 13-7 over Federer in terms of winners, and he, often that's reversed, but Murray's being the more aggressive player today.
Losing that first game of that set just put Federer seemingly on the chase the whole way. Here's Peter's principles, and we'll see how they are holding up.
Yeah, serving well, being broken 3 times in the first set, particularly that first game got him off to a weak start. Murray must stay in the rally. He's got 13 winners on 12 unforced errors, and Federer's best chance to get to the net, 6 out of 10 on net approaches. That third one, I think he needs to improve.
Principles brought to you by lovemeansnothing.ca. Visit Canada's new online tennis community. It's lovemeansnothing.ca. Tennis is spoken here. Roger Federer will challenge that call on the left baseline. Shot Spot is brought to you by National Bank Financial Group. Looked a bit long from here, Peter. Actually wide. It's his third double fault.
Judy Murray. Andy Murray looks up at his team a lot for emotional support. He is managing his emotions much better this week than he normally does. Got so upset in Los Angeles that he hit his fist into the racket strings and ended up cutting his hand open.
Which was a heck of a second serve.
Well, players are forced to hit a much bigger second serve these days because the returning game is so much better.
Let's talk about Roger Federer's serve. Andy Murray showing off a bit here in the second game of set 2. Back-to-back aces on a second serve and then a first serve. And a second double fault in this game. Sails wide and Murray holds here. 1-1 set 2. Peter, do you always feel for Murray around the time of Wimbledon every year? Because he's kind of a shy, reluctant celebrity, and then all of a sudden the whole country descends on him.
Well, you have to feel sorry for any player from the UK who has to play at Wimbledon. The pressure that the press puts on is extraordinary. So when Andy Murray gets to play in front of crowds like this, he loves it. And it's a neutral press. What's happened in the UK is that the press has become so negative that they actually become part of the problem over there, and the LTA is kind of, everything's revolving around how well are players doing at Wimbledon rather than are they progressing on the circuit.
Beautiful touch from Federer.
Just every time I see him use this shot, I go back to his statement that when he was asked a few years ago, why don't you hit more drop shots? And he said, because that's a sign of weakness. And here he's using it as an offensive weapon.
Back to back. Was it, Peter, at last year's French Open that he really kind of fell in love and saw the effectiveness of a drop shot?
Yeah, because the drop shot is so much more effective on clay than it is on hard courts, although these are pretty slow hard courts, and he's having pretty good success with it right here. But yeah, that's why most players who grew up on clay, they need and use the drop shot regularly.
Well, that was the French Open that Federer won last year, a final over Robin Soderling. Good hold from Roger Federer. We've played 3 in set 2, and it's on serve. Federer, 2-1. Rogers Cup presented by National Bank. Set 2. Andy Murray up a set, but down a game here in set 2. Very seldom does a lesser-known player win this. You can go back and look at the history. Bjorn Borg, John McEnroe, Yvonne Lendl, Andre Agassi. They've all won in the past 6 years. The giants of the sport have won this. Federer twice, Nadal twice, Djokovic and Murray. So Federer today a chance to become a 3-time champ. Only Lendl and Agassi can say that. And Murray trying to go back-to-back for the first time in 15 years. It was Agassi last to do that.
What's changed the last 6 or 7 years where the top players are actually winning the tournament. There's been so many upsets for a number of years. We have players like Chris Woodruff, Andre Pavel winning the tournament. Thomas Johansson, not big names, but were able to come through because of the large number of upsets throughout the tournaments.
Now, is that because so many players have taken time off after Wimbledon and come back maybe with something less than their A game?
Yeah, that's this traditionally, even when it was in July, it was the type of tournament that players would return after 2, 3, 4 weeks of time off. They're checking to see if a little bit of a drizzle.
Umbrellas up, please. Umbrellas.
Elliot Friedman has an update. Obviously, some rain has started to fall again, Elliot.
Well, the chair umpire came down, tested out the lines, asked the players, then called for the umbrellas. So what it looks like is going to happen here is we're going to take a couple-minute break to see if this cloud will quickly pass through. The good thing is the cloud doesn't look like it's going to stay too long. Moving over. We'll be back in a sec.
Andy Murray took the first set 7-5. We are on serve. He's down 1-2 here in the second. Just getting a quick update from the tournament referee, Tony Cho. He said that this is expected to go over pretty quickly. As I said before the break, the clouds are at least moving over the area. They don't think this is going to stay for too long. They've asked the players to remain on the court where they are. And the other thing they're saying that because the temperatures are pretty warm, the court has been pretty hot. So they don't think it's going to be very difficult to keep it dry as long as it's this kind of sprinkle and not like a real long torrential downpour. So we aren't expecting this delay to be very long as we send it up to Bruce and Peter. Bruce?
Yeah, Elliot, every towel in the facility, too, is on the court right now. It looks like they're trying to keep the lines in particular clean. Peter, in terms of time frame, 15 minutes is kind of a milestone, isn't it?
Yeah, as long as the delay is under 15 minutes, then the players don't get any kind of warm-up at all. If it goes over 15 minutes and under 30, then they get 3-minute warm-up, and over 30 minutes, they get a 5-minute warm-up.
Set 2-1. Federer leads Murray here. They're on serve in set 2. Murray 30 love in game 4 of this second set.
And if you notice, they're just toweling down the lines because, as I mentioned earlier, they're painted on, so that's where the injuries could occur.
It's not a sport like really golf or baseball where you can play in a sprinkle or a shower because things just get too slippery and there are hamstrings, ankles, all of that to consider.
When you're a kid, you want to play on this because then it's fun. You get to slide. So, but there's actually so a player like Gael Monfils would not be disturbed by this because he slides naturally. But a lot of the players who are not that adept at sliding, this could be a major injury if they did slip. The beauty of the clay courts, the original clay courts were called en tout cas in French, meaning in any case. That's the red clay that you see at Roland Garros in the French Open. And basically, clay court in Canada, it's known more as the green clay, which is hard true or fast dry or a few other surfaces with the same kind of similarity, green. It's nice to play on, much easier. The older folks love to play on it. Most of the senior events are held on clay courts. Because Jim Fix in the Book of Running said, page 1 almost was do not run on hard surfaces. So that's why these players really are very careful about making sure they take care of themselves as they're all working toward the U.S. Open, which starts the last week of August and goes on for 2 weeks.
Well, this match is an hour 10 minutes old. Scattered showers in the forecast for most of the afternoon. Looks like they're at least contemplating play once again. We'll see what happens as we take one more break.
All right, here's the status at the Rogers Cup. We had a delay as Andy Murray won the first set 7-5, trails the second set 2-1, but they are on serve as the rain came. It's cleared up right now. The court is dry. We are expecting the players to come back out in the next couple of minutes. There will be a warm-up before the match resumes. Mentioned earlier that we had a chance to look at the weather radar with the tournament officials about half an hour ago, and it looked pretty clear after that phase got through, and it ended just about 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time. They are hopeful it will remain clear for the next little while, and we can get the rest of this match going. But Federer and Murray are supposed to come out in the next couple of minutes as we go up to the booth with Bruce Rainey and Peter Burwash. Gentlemen.
Elliot, good news, and kudos, Peter, to the crew that worked in unison to get this court back to dry condition.
Well, they are great, and they definitely got aided by the sun coming out because the heat of the court allowed it to dry a lot faster, but they still are the masters of drying the court quickly.
Here's the welcome sight right here. Just to recap for you, Andy Murray started this match by breaking Roger Federer in the very first game, and Federer played catch-up the whole first set and couldn't quite catch up. Murray won that set 7-5, and right now they're on serve. Murray trails 1-2, but has a 30-love lead. Now, Peter, in terms of procedure, that delay was lengthy. They'll have a chance to have a full warm-up and loosen up here.
Yeah, full 5 minutes, and the break probably would have helped Federer a little bit because keep in mind Andy Murray does not have a coach here.
I would check that.
Where Roger Federer has a trial coach in Paul Annacone, who's a very intelligent coach. He worked with Pete Sampras for a long period of time when Sampras was #1. Most recently been with the Lawn Tennis Association in England, working with a lot of the junior players, and was also, as I mentioned earlier, a very accomplished player himself, winning 3 ATP titles. So that would definitely help him.
You would suspect that Annacone paid a visit to the locker room and discussed strategy. And
that's the advantage of the rain delay.
Here are numbers to date in this match, and it's been pretty close. Score will back us up on that.
Yeah, no question. Very close. You know, Federer's first serve percentage, this is good. He needs to keep getting that up there, put the pressure on. Everything else is fairly statistically even. Look at the total points at the bottom, 42 each. So even though Murray won the first set, it's not there's not that much discrepancy between the two players.
So let's hope for everybody's sake that this weather stays away. Federer and Murray want to get this in, obviously.
Well, they do, because keep in mind that the Cincinnati starts tomorrow, although these two players will have a bye based on their high seeds. But it's still, it's nice to complete the tournament, use Sunday night as a travel. It's short flight down to Cincinnati, or spend the night here and go out in the morning. But the summer circuit, you know, whether it's Washington, Cincinnati, Toronto, New Haven, the U.S. Open, it's always a major challenge with the weather. The advantage the U.S. Open has is a 2-week tournament, so rain delays, unless they have a lot of them, are not a major problem. But when you've got a 1-week event like this, it can cause a major upset in your schedule and planning.
These two met in that U.S. Open final a couple of years ago, and Federer straight-setted Andy Murray. They also met in the Australian Open final this year. Another straight-set win from Federer. Overall, Murray leads the all-time series 6-5, and he has the lead here 1-0. Players on serve in the second set. They will continue to get loose. There's the story of the day right there. Let's keep it clean. Get this match in. Federer 2-1 second set. Players on serve as we continue. Here's a live look at the Rexall Center on the campus of York University. The Rogers Cup presented by National Bank. Andy Murray, Roger Federer continue to warm up. Have about a minute left before play resumes here. Everybody hoping the skies and the rain cooperates. Never a good sign, Peter, when you come into a building and B.J. Thomas's "Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head" is on the sound system, or Fogerty singing "Who'll Stop the Rain." That was what we had during that break, so need the sunshine now.
It probably got a little longer than 1 minute, Bruce, I think, because they still have to do their serves.
2 minutes.
There it is, 2 minutes.
There's Judy Murray. Judy has raised 2 sons. Her other son, Jamie, is also on the circuit, more of a doubles player. Gentleman next to her in the black has been the hitting partner for Andy Murray. His name's Danny Valveru, and Andy and Danny played together as a doubles team when they were younger, so he's brought him along as a hitting partner. He also has his trainer Jez Green and his physiotherapist Andy Ireland, so he's got four people here as part of his support structure. What's been interesting with Roger Federer, he's usually just traveled with his wife Mirka, and now Paul Annacone as his coach. So yeah, the coaches today on tour, they play different roles. Some of them are just hitting partners, some of them are just good friends, and they need some companionship, and some of them actually are bona fide coaches. The majority of coaches today are former circuit players, but you know, many of them didn't really have to learn how to play the game, and the players that have struggled in their career often are the better coaches because they've had to learn the dynamics. There's Jez Green, who's done worked with Andy Murray the last 3 years, done a great job. Andy's really physically fit. You don't see him tire in matches. The biggest challenge really for Murray is his mind, which seems to be coming together much better.
He doesn't seem to zone out as much as he used to, and
Well, he's faced with the problems. Anger is the one that sort of has set him off, and he's one of those players that if he gets angry, it isn't so beneficial for him. He's not like a John McEnroe who his game used to elevate after he got upset. Roger Federer, on the other hand, when you look at him mentally, he's always been quite strong.
well, for the very latest on what is happening courtside, once again, Elliot Friedman.
Well, Bruce, we're going to get through and we're going to play this match in just a couple of seconds. Just wanted to show you something from last night. This is Novak Djokovic, and after match point with Roger Federer, they went to the net and Djokovic told him something. He wouldn't tell the media what he said, but Federer after said that Djokovic told him you should have won this match earlier. To the laughter of both Federer and everybody who was listening in the media room. That opportunity isn't today, but a light moment we wanted to show you from last night. Bruce?
Yeah, and Federer might wish he had, because he played well over 2 hours last night, and should this match crawl on to a third set, maybe that is when he'll start to feel the effects of that. We're still a ways away from that, though. To reset, 7-5 Murray in the first, Federer 2-1 in the second, but Murray 30 love and on serve.
Pretty effective start.
Ace number 4 for Andy Murray. And deja vu all over again. There is a slight drizzle. Both players wondering, are we going to continue here?
Because it's coming again. Yeah, I don't think it. Yeah, it's better to sit down because I don't want to start a game when it's coming like this. In 2 minutes, it's playable.
Players wondering what to do, and the umpire saying, let's not start. Let's come sit down and see what happens. All this week, the forecast, the long range, it looked as though Sunday would be a struggle when it came to the weather. It's been a battle today. Umpire has descended from his chair to check the lines, the white lines. Those are what gets so slippery.
They're being extra cautious.
Yeah. What are you saying? I say we'll wait for a couple of minutes, see if it's coming more, because it's a big cloud there. No, it's not supposed to be. After 4 o'clock, it should be clearing up on the radar.
Just to give you a quick update here, the chair umpire, Lars Graf, has told the players he wants to see how quickly one particular cloud blows over the stadium. There is a lot of wind up high, and it is moving. He thinks if that one gets past pretty quickly, he just wants to see if the rain will let up. So that's what the players are waiting for, how quickly the one particular cloud moves over the stadium.
Well, he's been through this before, no doubt. A man who's seen it all in his career.
Okay. The fluff here. You guys have any brush or anything, any broom to take away the flush from the... Don't do it so hard.
Okay, so they're working on the lines now. lot of towels on the court once again.
Okay, let's try. I mean, nothing's coming now, so.
They're going to try it again. 2-2, second set.
No, of course we shouldn't say it. I shouldn't say it. I can feel it now again. Yeah. It's coming again, Andy. I can see the big drops.
Yeah, they just can't get a break here right now.
Yeah. Big drops again.
That's not rain though. They're saying that there is not rain. There's nothing coming.
Is an optimist?
So it doesn't look on the radar. It doesn't show on the radar. There's no rain for the next 3 hours. That's a news.
That's a nice sound.
Well, it sounded very good. I hope he's an accurate forecaster, this guy.
See, now if this was clay, they'd be playing. And basically, tennis started on grass and clay almost simultaneously, depending upon which historian you talk to. Some say the British invented tennis in England and the French invented it in France. But then, a number of years ago, America brought forth the hard court. And the hard court, the advantage of the hard court is it's very good from a maintenance point of view, but it's not that great on your body long term. And also on rainy days like this, it can create some real problems.
It gets pretty slick, and that's the problem now. We continue to wait and hope. Forecast sounds good. Let's hope. Back in a moment.
Rogers Cup presented by National Bank. We got lucky here with the weather yesterday. It threatened especially the later semifinal, and we didn't really have any problems. Today, a few more issues. And right now, once again, Roger Federer and Andy Murray are waiting out another slight delay. The weather isn't very heavy right now. It's sprinkling at best. The towels were just back out. They're coming off right now, and Murray and Federer are going to give it one more try. Murray won the first set 7-5. We're even on serve in the second set 2-2. And hopefully this will remain clear. The chair umpire Lars Graf wanted to see a certain cloud go over the stadium, and for the most part it's gone now, although it looks like we're going to be battling this for the rest of the afternoon. Back up to Bruce and Peter. Gentlemen.
Elliot, great update, and here we go. Let's see if we can get through a second set and if necessary a third. 4 o'clock local time. In pure match time, it's an hour 13 minutes old.
New balls introduced. Not because of the rain delay or anything, but they change after the first 7, and then every 9 games after that. They've played 16 games so far.
Once again, a hole here for Federer. Can he claw out again? It's like
almost like clockwork.
Yeah.
You know, down love 30, 15-40. Just goes to another level.
But this opponent, Murray, is a great service returner.
So if you're in Andy Murray's position right now, particularly with the inclement weather and not sure whether they're going to be able to get through a long period without rain, extra focus for him. He's only 4 games away from taking the title and moving on.
And that's wide. Miss from Federer.
Gonna for sure. Good time to challenge.
Just not quite. And there's the break for Andy Murray. First break, second set. Murray the 1-game lead.
The 2010 Rogers Cup, presented by National Bank on CBC, is brought to you by Iris, as unique as your eyes. By LoveMeansNothing.ca, tennis is spoken here. And by Dairy Farmers of Canada. And you, are you getting enough milk products?
Andy Murray 3 games away. First point here of the 6th game. Second set. We had the right idea too. Peter, as a rule, if you are a drop shot, I don't even know if that's a verb, if you're the guy that's chasing down a drop shot, do you like to go back down the line or try to go cross court?
Well, you have 2 options. One is a counter drop shot cross court, or down the line that Murray tried. It just depends on whether you're there soon enough. If you're there soon enough, your best shot really is your counter drop shot. But Murray wasn't quite there, so he didn't have command or control over that shot, so it was best to dump it down the line. And because when you're coming in, forced into the net, or you're coming into the net voluntarily, then you want to always go down the line. Or not, I shouldn't say always, but your preferred percentage is down the line.
Hitting that serve much harder than he did a couple of years back. Swing and a miss from Federer. Here it comes again at 30 all. Game 6.
Quickly, umbrellas. Have all 6 balls.
So at this point, they will sit and wait and hope it's quick again.
What? Mark said nothing is coming out the court. Send him back before it's too much, Tony. Okay, Roger, and you can go back.
Yep, players are going to be sent off here. So players being sent back to the locker room area.
You cannot have players here like this. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. You know what I mean?
You hear the umpire describe it as absolutely ridiculous, and sometimes the weather is just that.
Programming here on CBC. We're still at tennis. We are just finishing our second lengthy rain delay of the afternoon. Over my shoulder, you've got Roger Federer and Andy Murray warming up to try and resume play in the second set. Murray won the first set 7-5. We're tied in the second on serve. It has been a long afternoon, a longer one than we expected. Murray and Federer are expected to resume in just a couple of minutes. As soon as they finish their warm-up, we'll send it upstairs to Bruce and Peter. Guys?
All right, thank you, Elliot. Now, Andy Murray did have a break here in the second set, so Murray's up a break, 3-2.
Pretty important point to start off with, because let's look at it from both players' perspectives. Andy Murray wins this. Next point, he's up 40-30, serving to go up 4-2. Roger Federer wins it. He's got a break point to get back on serve. Good portion of the fans have returned. They've waited it out.
Peter, on a long delay, would the players get some treatment, get some massage? Would they stretch? What's typical?
Most of them just stretch. Unless they've got some sort of injury, they tend to stay away from the massage table until the match is over. Yeah, every player has their routine. Some players like to just relax. Some like to listen to music. Some are pretty casual. You'll see them playing ping pong or playing video games on the computer. But because of the importance of this particular match, for both players, Federer hasn't won a tournament since the Australian Open, his longest drought ever. He certainly would like to get on the board. Andy Murray's also had a tough haul of it this year, playing probably his best tournament in terms of overall. He played well at Wimbledon, but I just think he's gotten himself to another level here this week.
A couple of footnotes for this match. Number one, Andy Murray playing for some history, trying to become the first back-to-back champion since 1995, when Andre Agassi won his second of two. 3 overall, by the way, for Agassi, but he went back-to-back. Last guy to do it. And Roger Federer trying to become a 3-time champion of the Rogers Cup. Yvonne Lendl won 6, Agassi won 3. Those are the only other 2 players that have won at least 3 Canadian titles. So, Peter, as you said, this is a key point out of the gate here. Andy Murray on serve. He's up a break. And it's 30-all.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what he starts out with, whether he plays for a fairly safe serve or whether he goes for a big serve to put Roger in trouble right away. I was trying to watch his warm-up there. He's looked like his serve was okay. Hadn't lost any pop during the break. But a lot of it comes down to You know, psychologically, do you want to gamble a little bit and go for a big serve? And if you miss, put yourself in a position of second serve, or do you want to play it safe and then try to dictate the point from the second hit on?
Break point, Federer. Complexion of this set could change in a hurry here.
For such a long break.
And a break for Federer, Peter.
Whoa.
Welcome back, guys.
Well, we'll go back to Murray missing 2 big first serves. He gambled and it didn't pay off. Sometimes when you come in after a layoff, it's better to work your way back into a more powerful serve. Having said that, he's still up a set, and they're back on serve.
Kilometers an hour and perfectly placed to the corner by Federer.
As Federer starts to pick up some momentum here, the crowd will get more and more behind him.
The crowd's been patient and they want to see 3 sets now.
Sure, listen, we've waited a long time here. Don't want to just see a couple of games.
Well, the rain delay, it sure is, and this rain delay has done Roger Federer a world of good. Comes back and breaks Murray, holds serve, back on serve. Second set. There's your line score, 7-5 Murray in the first, on serve in the second. Federer has come out of the locker room after this latest rain delay with a noticeable spring in his step, and as you said, Peter, going to break, the forehand's on.
Oh, for sure.
That forehand to such an extent a barometer of his game, and when it's on, he's the man.
Roger Federer hardly ever hits a winner on the return of serve. He's quite almost cautious on the return. He doesn't try to do too much with it. Very adept at blocking it back, letting it almost float back, and as long as he gets the good depth on it, he's gone through the neutralization aspect of what you're supposed to do on the return.
Oh. 213 kilometers an hour. That first serve from Murray just missed. Point there from Murray. Bomb from Murray, 212 kilometers down the middle, and he responds.
He's just stepping into the balls. So much more this since he's come out from the break, which is a good sign. You know, he tends to take the ball behind the baseline when he's a little bit more casual. Now he's aggressive. Look how he stepped in.
Stays on Federer's side. 30-15. These guys are serving big right now.
Very aggressive game from Federer.
We stay on serve. Plot thickens. Second set, 5-4, Federer. Well, Saturday, September 18th is Sports Day in Canada. That's a CBC partnership with Participation and True Sport. Get involved, get moving, and celebrate sports in Canada. Find out how by checking out cbcsports.ca/sportsday. So here we go. Players on serve. Federer needs this set. He's up a game. Here's Andy Murray trying to do what very few players ever have done, and that is beat Nadal and Federer in the same tournament. Crushed Nadal yesterday.
Decent service game from Murray. Got his first serve in more than he has been.
So, Peter, here's a pressure service game for Federer.
Well, based on the last two matches, this is the shot that's allowed him to get to the final day here.
209 down the middle. Murray doesn't think so, though. He's going to challenge.
He's on the outside of the line if it caught.
Ooh. Good eye.
Still the right approach. He's getting these short balls. What he's got to do is still remember that he has to get in a little bit tighter. That was the kind of volley that he could have played a little higher had he been 3 or 4 feet further in.
Two times in, 2 points for Murray.
Well, this is what makes it tougher to get into the net these days because players are blasting the ball. But it's still a worthwhile exercise. That's the shot this week that you notice a little bit of a dip in terms of what Roger Federer's been able to do. He used to love the half volley and actually turn it into an offensive shot from the baseline.
Boy, what a get from Murray.
Wasn't that super?
This guy's 6'3", 200 ripped pounds, and he's flying out there, Murray.
But you got to like what Federer's doing here these last few games. Very aggressive.
He continues to claw back on serve. Needs one more point here. This, in many ways, Peter, almost like a match point right here. Murray's got it. Timely break for the Scotsman, Andy Murray. He leads 6-5 and will serve for the championship when we come back. There's the line score. Favors Andy Murray. He wins the first set. Up by a game and on serve in the second. Has a chance to close it out on his serve, does Andy Murray. These guys have played 11 times. 8 times it's gone to 3 sets, so they're used to going deep, but Murray can close out a 2-setter right here.
So if Federer can get this next point, the crowd will start to kick in again on his behalf, as it's done the last couple of evenings.
Play. Now he made that look easy, but that's not easy.
No, the backhand overhead smash, a very difficult shot to hit, but what really set it up was just the fact that he was in there. That's the offensive zone. Nice time to do it. Can't come in from the ed court very easily unless it were a left-hander. So I don't think we'll see him coming in here unless he gets a really short second serve.
Had a chance. Murray 2 points from the title. What a return from Federer. 2 hours they've been on court.
Just shows what a champion he is. You know, a very critical point. He misses his forehand, the second to last point. Gets a chance on this return his serve, belts it into the corner.
.219 kilometers an hour.
We haven't been keeping track, but I think that's probably his fastest serve.
I think it was.
So he's been trying to get to Federer's forehand from the deuce court here, but he hasn't been connecting with it.
1 point away. That one 225 kilometers an hour.
Shorter distance, definitely going to go faster.
Championship points.
And we're focusing on the mistake, but what a nice return.
Net court away is all it was.
Tough angle. There's a classic example of how Federer returns, makes the opponent play one more ball.
How about those shots back to back? Second championship point for Andy Murray. He's got it. The Super Scot goes back-to-back in Canada.
Well, he had a marvelous tournament. To be able to play at that level, getting ready for the U.S. Open a couple of weeks away, he's going to be a big factor. Going to go over and say hi to his team.
Peter, in 3 successive matches, he straight sets the hottest player on the tour in David Nalbandian. Then he straight sets Rafael Nadal, the #1 player in the world, and then he straight sets the legend, Federer. It's a great 3 days of work. You know what? His last ATP title came in November of last year. It's been a while, but the drought over now for Andy Murray. And it continues, by the way, for Roger Federer, who hasn't won since the Australian Open.
But good week for both players. I mean, we talked about how nice it was for Andy Murray and how well he played, but also Roger Federer is on his way back. So good news for the tennis world.
Well, Andy Murray standing by with Elliot Friedman.
I go this way so the sun's not in the lens. Thanks, guys.
Elliot, you're all set.
Andy, those weren't the easiest conditions to play in with the 2 rain delays. How does a player keep his focus with the 2 lengthy delays that happened?
It was obviously very tough for both of us. you know, closing a match out against Roger is difficult, but, you know, with rain delays and stuff, you have a little bit more time to think about it, so it made it really tough, but I managed to come through in the end.
First man to repeat in Canada since Andre Agassi did it in 94-95. Saw an interview. Right before Wimbledon, I saw an interview that John McEnroe did with a British paper. He's a big fan of your game, and he said that your breakthrough in the Grand Slam will come at the 2011 U.S. Open. Think the way you're finishing this week, that breakthrough could come a year earlier than he predicts?
Well, I hope so. I've been trying for a few years now. It's incredibly difficult to win one just now, but I've been working really hard the last few years to give myself a chance. But, you know, got guys like Roger and Rafa who are, you know, two of the best ever to compete with, and I'm going to have to up my game if I want to win one.
Congratulations. Thank you very much, Andy.
Thank you.
Bruce?
Well, there's Andy Murray. Champion last year in Montreal, champion this year in Toronto. And he slayed the Giants. Back to wrap it up from the Rogers Cup in a moment. Time now to look at the Rogers shot of the match from today, and we'll take you to match point. This was a tough day for both guys, as Andy Murray alluded to. He chases it back and watches it fall just long. And Murray in 2 sets. Champion once again in Canada. Rogers Cup on demand, 2 ways to watch only for Rogers customers. Learn more at rogerscup.com/on-demand. Well, back with Peter Burwash, and you know, a tough day for these guys, obviously, with the 2 major delays, but I think we could say that the best player here this week won this tournament.
Well, he did. He had a fabulous week. He really came into his own. I think when I mentioned about when he played David Nalbandian and winning 6-2, 6-2 against a player who was the hottest player in the tournament coming into Toronto, he really deserved it, and he's put in the time, as he said in the interview with Elliot. He has been working very hard on his physical fitness. He's got a great team around him, and it's going to be interesting now to see who he selects as his coach.
They're going to be lining up. U.S. Open's coming up. Would you be really surprised to see that final at the U.S. Open, Federer, Andy Murray?
It just depends on the draw. You know, I mean, I think the Roger Federer has been able to pull out so many matches in 5 sets over the years that it favors him. But New York's tough conditions, and players are playing better and better, like Andy Murray.
Yeah, he was certainly great this week. He beats Nalbandian, Nadal, and then Federer in succession. Let's head back down now courtside with Elliot Friedman.
Yes, Bruce, he becomes the 6th man in a career to beat Nadal and Federer in the same tournament. I stole that stat from you earlier in the broadcast. Great job, Peter. Bruce will be back next weekend at the women's event with Tracy Austin as the commentator. Saturday, the semifinals. Sunday, the women's final. Hopefully, Mother Nature will go easier on that tournament than it went on today here on Sunday. Andy Murray is your champion. He will come back next year, defend it for the 2nd time. The first repeat winner since Andre Agassi in 94-95, and a great week for him. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next weekend in Montreal.
CBC Sports, home of the champion.